In the summer of 1864, a beautiful 19-year-old Fanny Kelly faced a living nightmare. Her wagon train, bound for Idaho's Golden Hills, was ambushed by Lakota warriors. Men were massacred, her family torn apart, and Fanny endured 6 grueling months in captivity, fighting for survival in a hostile wilderness. Her courage against overwhelming odds birthed a vivid tale of frontier resilience. This is her gripping story, pulled from her own words, where survival clashed with cultural conflict and hope battled loss. May 1864. Fanny Kelly, just 19, brimmed with hope as she joined a small wagon train on the Oregon Trail, chasing a new life in Idaho's Golden Hills. Newly married to Josiah Kelly, a weathered Union veteran, Fanny dreamed of brighter days. Josiah, 15 years her senior, was frail from farming and war, seeking Idaho's healing climate. Their adopted daughter, 7-year-old Mary, clung to Fanny's side, her fair hair and innocent eyes a stark contrast to her fears of Native Americans, whispered as boogeymen in 1860s tales. "They look at me strangely," Mary confided, her voice trembling at trading posts. Fanny soothed her, promising safety. Their group was small, barely a dozen souls. Alongside the Kellys were 2 loyal black servants, Frank and Andy, a minister, and the Larimore family, William, Sarah, and their 8-year-old son. The vast plain stretched before them, shimmering under a warm orange sun. They sang "Ho for Idaho" as stars glittered above Little Box Elder Creek. Yet the land they crossed belonged to the Lakota, a powerful tribe of mounted warriors. Agreements with settlers, guarded by Fort Laramie soldiers, promised safe passage, but Mary's unease lingered. "Their smiles seem fake," she whispered, clutching Fanny's hand. Fanny, ever protective, dismissed the fears, unaware of the storm brewing. The trail was no stranger to danger. The Lakota roamed these hills, their way of life clashing with the encroaching settlers. Fanny's memoir recalls her naive optimism, blind to the cultural tensions simmering beneath. Little did they know, their journey would soon spiral into a fight for survival, testing Fanny's resilience in ways she could never imagine. July 12, 1864. The sun dipped low, painting the Black Hills in a warm orange glow when terror struck Fanny Kelly's wagon train. As they crossed Little Box Elder Creek, Fanny's heart froze. Hundreds of Lakota warriors, painted for war, crested a bluff on horseback. "There must have been 200, Fanny later wrote, their whoops piercing the air. Josiah, her husband, barked orders, forming the wagons into a defensive ring. The men, outnumbered, gripped their rifles, while Fanny clutched 7-year-old Mary, her adopted daughter, whose fair hair trembled against her. The Lakota paused, menacingly still, firing shots into the sky. Fanny, her voice shaking, begged Josiah to not fire a shot, or they'll massacre us all. Josiah, a seasoned veteran, held back, his jaw tight. The air grew thick with tension as a lone warrior, Chief Ottawa, approached. He beat his chest, claiming peace, good Indian me. Part of Sitting Bull's Oglala band, Ottawa spoke of hunting, not war. Josiah shook his hand, hope flickering, until the warriors surged forward. Smiles masked their intent as 200 Lakota swarmed the wagons. Fanny's grip on Mary tightened. Her child's eyes mirrored her fear from trading posts, sensing danger. Ottawa demanded trade. Josiah, desperate to keep peace, offered his prized horse, stalling for time. The trail was busy. Another convoy could scare them off. But the Lakota grew bold, seizing goods, eyeing rifles. When one grabbed Josiah's gun, he snapped, "No." His defiance shattered the facade. Chaos erupted. "Our terrible enemy threw off their masks," Fanny wrote. A gunshot cracked. A man's head jerked back, lifeless. Arrows rained down, piercing Frank, their servant, as he rushed to Fanny's side. Smoke choked the air as war cries drowned out screams. Josiah and Andy, gathering firewood, saw the carnage from afar, powerless against the war party. The Lakota looted, smashing heirlooms, spilling flour into the dirt. Fanny, clutching Mary, stood frozen, praying to be ignored. She pleaded with Ottawa, who waved her off, his revolver a silent threat. The men were dead or fled. Fanny, Mary, Sarah Larimore, and her son were herded together, captives in a sea of warriors. The clash of cultures, settlers' dreams against Lakota resistance, had ignited a brutal ambush, thrusting Fanny into a fight for survival.
The ambush left Fanny Kelly, Mary, Sarah Larimore, and her son as Lakota prisoners, their wagon train a smoldering wreck. Forced onto horses, they rode north into the night, the Lakota chanting war songs under glittering stars. Fanny, clutching 7-year-old Mary, whispered hope to calm her trembling. "We're only a few miles from camp," she murmured, tearing pages from her books and dropping them like breadcrumbs to mark their trail. In the dark forest, Fanny saw a chance. When the warriors drifted ahead, she wrapped her shawl around Mary, brushed her fair hair, and gently lowered her to the ground. "Hide, then retrace the pages," she urged. Mary vanished into the brush, unnoticed. Fanny's heart pounded as she rode on, but her own escape faltered. The Lakota spotted her clumsy dismount, seizing her with fury. "Where's the girl?" they demanded, beating her as she lied. Mary fell asleep, slipped off the horse. Unconvinced, they struck harder, warning of worse if she tried again. At dawn, warriors searched for Mary, but found nothing. Fanny prayed her daughter had followed the pages to safety, her absence a tormenting void. Bound to Chief Ottawa, Fanny became his porter, hauling a bow, gun, and a mysterious 3-foot stick. Exhausted, she trekked across rugged terrain, her eyes scanning for Josiah, her husband, hoping he trailed them. The wind carried Mary's imagined cries, haunting her. Distracted, Fanny dropped Ottawa's stick. It snapped. Panicked, she kicked to the side, but the Lakota soon noticed. Ottawa's rage was swift. "You die for this," he roared, ordering her tied to a horse for target practice. Warriors notched arrows, firebrands ready to spook the mount. Fanny's hands fumbled, finding $120 in banknotes. "Take it," she cried, fanning the bills. Amused or swayed, Ottawa relented, and Fanny collapsed, spared once more. Reunited with Sarah and her son, Fanny marched on, the Lakota's grip unyielding. Hunger gnawed, water scarce. The cultural chasm, settlers versus Lakota, deepened her despair, yet Fanny's resilience burned. "I clung to hope, for Mary, for Josiah," she later wrote. But the wilderness stretched endlessly, and the warriors' watchful eyes crushed any chance of escape, leaving Fanny to face an uncertain fate.
After weeks of grueling travel, Fanny Kelly reached a sprawling Lakota village along the Powder River, teeming with teepees and chanting crowds. Separated from Jumping Bear, her Blackfoot ally, she faced Chief Ottawa's 6 wives, their suspicious glares cutting through her. "I hoped for sympathy from these women of the forest," Fanny wrote, "but found none." The wives squabbled over looted goods, the eldest brandishing a knife to claim Fanny's silk gloves. Alone, Fanny shrank, a spectacle for curious children, many fair-skinned from fort marriages with soldiers. Their pale faces, mocked by full-blooded Lakota, mirrored her own displacement. Ottawa assigned Fanny a new role, mother to Yellowbird, a Lakota child meant to replace Mary. The gesture pierced her heart, a cruel reminder of her lost daughter. Days later, horror struck. A warrior rode by, Mary's shawl at his side, a small scalp with fair hair dangling beside it. "A blood-red cloud came between me and the world," Fanny wrote, collapsing in grief. She begged to die, but the Lakota ignored her pleas, their lives consumed by war preparations against General Sully's forces. Despite her despair, Fanny adapted, tending Yellowbird with care. The eldest wife, once fierce, softened, sharing tea to ease Fanny's sleepless nights. Others dressed her wounds, their kindness clashing with the village's hostility. Fanny noted the Lakota's resentment. Settlers' trails scarred their land, their buffalo dwindled. Yet she saw savagery in their raids, her captors' duality a bitter truth. They were my enemies, she wrote, yet their pain was real. As war loomed, scalps adorned poles at a feast, warriors chanting for battle. Fanny, painted and forced to hold a trophy staff, felt their rage. Their gestures were demonic, she recalled, yet she glimpsed their fight for freedom against white encroachment. Starvation loomed as Sully's pursuit intensified, pushing the tribe toward the Badlands. Fanny's hope wavered, tethered only by thoughts of Josiah and a fading dream of rescue, as the village braced for a desperate fight.
In the desolate Badlands, starvation gripped the Lakota as General Sully's forces hunted them relentlessly. Fanny Kelly, weakened and malnourished, prayed for rescue. The tribe's defeat left them vulnerable, their supplies burned. A Blackfoot band arrived, offering horses to Chief Ottawa for Fanny, not out of kindness, but cunning. They planned to use her as bait to lure Fort Sully's soldiers into an ambush. I was horrified, Fanny wrote, dreading more bloodshed. Yet hope flickered when Jumping Bear, her Blackfoot ally, reappeared. Sensing his affection, Fanny seized her chance. She penned a desperate letter to General Sully, warning of the Blackfoot's plot. "Prove your love," she urged Jumping Bear, promising rewards. He hesitated, but took the letter, vanishing into the snow. In December 1864, the Blackfoot marched Fanny 200 miles to Fort Sully, warriors painted for war. Fanny, draped in a buffalo robe, understood their speech. "These intruders deserve destruction," the chief declared, rallying his men to slaughter the garrison. Her heart raced. Had Jumping Bear delivered her warning? As they neared the fort, silence blanketed the snow. 8 chiefs led Fanny forward, the war party trailing. Soldiers manned the walls, gates creaking open. A captain approached. "Am I free?" Fanny whispered. "Yes," he replied. The chiefs entered, expecting reward, but the gates slammed shut. Soldiers' rifles gleamed. The war party was locked out. Jumping Bear had done it, Fanny realized, her letter saving the fort. After 7 months of terror, she was free. Fanny collapsed, overwhelmed, soon reuniting with Josiah, who had never stopped searching. The Lakota's plan, born of desperation to protect their land, had failed against her resilience. "I survived," she later wrote, "but the cost was heavy." Her ordeal, marked by loss and cunning, now neared its end, leaving scars of sacrifice and a glimmer of redemption.
Fanny Kelly's rescue in December 1864 marked the end of her harrowing 7-month ordeal with the Lakota, but the scars of loss lingered. Reunited with her husband Josiah, who had tirelessly searched for her, Fanny faced new tragedies. Josiah succumbed to cholera a few years later, leaving her to raise their newborn son, Josiah Jr. "My heart bore the weight of Mary's sacrifice," she wrote, mourning her adopted daughter's fate. In 1870, Congress awarded Fanny $5,000 for her losses and her role in thwarting the Blackfoot ambush, a testament to her resilience. Fanny's story didn't end in the Badlands. She co-authored her memoir, My Captivity Among the Sioux Indians, but faced betrayal when Sarah Larimore, a fellow survivor, tried to steal her work. Fanny won the plagiarism lawsuit, securing her legacy. Her vivid account captured the clash of cultures, settlers' dreams against Lakota resistance, and her unyielding spirit. Years later, in Washington, D.C., she met Jumping Bear, now married and advocating for his people. He called his wife "my friend," she recalled, a bittersweet echo of their bond. Fanny lived until 1904, never forgetting Mary or the Lakota's complex humanity. Her tale weaves survival and sacrifice, revealing the cost of frontier ambition and the strength to endure. The Oregon Trail, once a path of hope, became her crucible, forging a story of redemption amid cultural conflict. Her words endure, a haunting reminder of a divided era where courage met unimaginable loss. If Fanny's tale gripped you, Like, comment, and subscribe. What story do you want to hear next? Drop it in the comments.